All right, this is from Richard Hanania's lengthy essay, Shut Up About Race and IQ. Well, noticing that different people have different gifts is one of the most important ways that you can more clearly discern reality and make better choices, right? It's such a powerful tool for understanding how the world works. But Richard Hanania wants to make the case to stop talking about this because when he talked about it, he was in danger of blowing up his career. So for Richard Hanania, there are many things far more important than telling the truth. Right? What's far more important than telling the truth is Richard Hanania's status and advancement and having a good life. All right, Steve Saylor, like Charles Murray, all right, there are many things that these blokes believe in that are greater than their own status. He says, I searched Steve Saylor's blog for littering, and practically every result on the first page was somehow connected to Latinos or immigrants. Right, so Steve Saylor noticed that in some areas of Los Angeles that have started to become heavily littered, that it was overwhelmingly Latino immigrants who were using those areas, right? And Richard Hanania says, I tried the same thing with global warming, and the results weren't as extreme, but the pattern was similar. It's as if when you brought up stamp collecting with someone, they shifted the conversation to how Armenians are always trying to pass off counterfeit stamps as the real thing. You would start to think that this person cares more about Armenians than about stamps. Right, Steve Saylor focuses on those topics where he can provide insight that you're not going to read in the New York Times. And so he also develops certain specialties, but he so consistently produces important insights that you don't get elsewhere that these criticisms are so cheap here coming from Hanania. Imagine a leftist coming along and saying, all you have to do is show Saylor that Latinos don't litter all that much, and then he'll support immigration. Obviously, the whole littering obsession is a pretense. It's not a pretense, right? You can notice that different groups have different approaches to litter, right? In the world that I come from, of California in the 1970s and Australia in the 1970s, right, you had the beginnings of pretty intense anti-littering campaigns. But some groups in America don't really care that much about littering. And the same is true for other right-wing figures who've talked about littering, like Ann Coulter and Tucker Carlson. Right? I think they're just noticing patterns, and Ann Coulter and Tucker Carlson are willing to talk out about things that are greater and more important than their own egos and their own advancement. Immigration restrictionists are mainly driven by aesthetic preferences. Right? What an insane analysis. Obviously, different people have different gifts. You can bring to your country people who are 10 times more likely than the average American to commit murder, or you can choose to bring people into your country who are much less likely than the average American.